All right, class. So this is number 83 on page 134. This was a pretty difficult problem for me, but I think it's just because I had to try and remember back from algebra how to come up with a line, and then once I figured that part out, then it got easier. But I can imagine that we have some students struggling with this problem. So here, let's get right to it. So we have a small theater. It has seating capacity of 2,000. Okay. When we charge $20, the seating is 1,500. So there's a relationship between how much we're charging and how many people come in attendance. As we decrease our admission price, these are arrows pointing down here, as we decrease our admission price, okay, then our attendance goes up, and that would make sense. And the amount of revenue that we're going to make is going to be X times Y. So R is going to equal X times Y. But in order to figure out this revenue, I mean, we can just do that. We can just take, of these values, we can take X times Y. And I did that over here, and so I took 20 times 1,500. I got, this is supposed to be 30,000. I'm trying to write on an iPad. It's not always easy, so hopefully you can bear with me. So 20 times 1,500 is 30,000. 19 times 1,600 is 30,400. And then I go on here. So 18 times 1,700 will be the same as 17 times 1,800. So it looks like we found two high revenues here at 18 and 17. But what if we charged somewhere in between here? And that's what we're trying to figure out. Maybe there's a value in between here that we can get a higher revenue, a higher attendance, or an attendance in between, but then we get a higher revenue. So we can take a guess, and we can go through all the values between 17 and 18, but as you know, there's an infinite amount of those. So there's a mathematical way to do this problem. We start out with our formula. Revenue is going to equal X times Y. And then what we're going to want to do is solve for Y for all the values of X. This is a linear. This is, if you plotted these points, this would be a linear. It would be a line between X and Y. It'd be a linear relationship. So it looks like as X goes down, Y increases. So this graph would look something like this. Okay, and then we want to find the equation of that line so we can figure out what X is or what Y is for all the X values. So how do you find the equation of a line? Well, y equals mx plus b. We're going to figure out what m is. So, well, we know m is the change in y over the change in x. Delta y over delta x. Okay, or rise over run. So as I go from point to point, how much do I rise over how much do I run? So the easiest way to do this is to pick 2 points, and if I'm going too fast, just pause the video, rewind, and watch those parts again. I want to try to keep these videos to about 5 minutes, so I'm going to probably speak pretty fast through these. So here's my first point, here's my second point. So this would be x1, this would be y1. This down here would be x2, this would be y2. So to get rise over run, I'm going to take y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. When I do that, y2 minus y1 is going to be 100 by using these 2 points down here. x2 minus x1 is going to be -1. So my slope is -100. So I've got part of this equation, y equals -100x plus b. We don't know b. How do you find b? Well, in order to find b, hopefully you can remember that I'm supposed to plug in a point. I can use this point, or any of these points up here. Okay? So substitute in an x from one of these 2 points, substitute in a y, and solve for b. So if I take 20 for x, so this would be -100 times 20 plus some number b, I should get 1,500. Well, -100 times 20 is -2,000. So what number plus negative 2,000 gives me 1,500. Well, that should give you a value for b of 3,500. So now I have my equation, y equals negative 100x plus 3,500. So this is what y equals. Okay? So in my formula here, my revenue is going to equal x times y. So x times this equation I just found. I'm going to substitute in for y this equation. Negative 100x plus 3,500. Again, pardon my writing here. It's trying to write on an iPad. It's not always easy. My handwriting's bad to begin with. Okay, so here's my revenue equation. So now what I'd want to do, holy cow, this is really bad. There we go. So this is negative 100 x. Let's start over. X times negative 100x plus 3,500. If I multiply this out, I get negative x squared plus 3,500. Oops. Try that again. I can multiply better than that. Negative 100x squared plus 3,500x. Okay, so this is my revenue equation. This is what revenue equals. Now, I can put this into my calculator, and it's going to look, running out of room here, it's going to look something like, we'll put it right up here. If I zoom out enough, or if I adjust it, what you're going to find, I can give you the values for these, but obviously this height right here is going to be somewhere around these numbers. So what I did was I put 40,000 as a height and 0 at the base, and then I had a range of, I went 14 to 21. That includes all my x values, doesn't it? And that would include my revenue values between 30,000 and 30,600. And then what you're looking for is this spot right here. Okay, to find that spot, you're going to use the calc button on your calculator. Okay, you're going to push that calc button, and I think from there, I think you can get it. Okay, so this is a difficult problem. You're still maybe going to have questions, but hopefully you watch this, and hopefully this answers a few of the questions, and maybe even, for some of you, pushes you over the edge so you can solve it. All right, thanks for listening.